God's beautiful people. It is the 28th of October, I do believe. And, you know, I just want to say heavenly happy birthday to my daddy, my pappy, you know, who would have been 96 on this coming Sunday, the 31st of October. Born 1925. It's so funny, you know, we went to the grave the other day. My mum, whose birthday was the 21st of October, 1935. It's 10, 10, 10s. So my dad was born 25, my mum was born 35, my mum was born the 21st, my dad was born the 31st, both in October. And my mum died 10 years before my dad died, you know. And so I don't know what the 10 was with them. They must be saying that they were soulmates. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day. And yeah, having a happy birthday to mommy and daddy, mommy and daddy. Bless the Lord. Right, okay, so I'm in my favorite color, which is yellow, and it was also my pappy's favorite color. With a happy, oh, mustn't shake it too hard because you can't hear it. Happy tambourine. I love my tambourines, and I'll tell you for why, because people are wondering, why is she always nutting that tambourine? This tambourine represents my childhood, really. You know, growing up in Church God of Prophecy, Lady Pool Road, it was called. And, you know, the tambourines, how the older people used to knock them tambourines, you know, and I wanted to have a go on one, but I wasn't giving mustard times until I got more to my teenage years. My older sister, oh my goodness, she could knock a tambourine. I'll tell you that now. You know, she could make it hang. And I was always marveling at her when she was knocking it. She could have some kind of different rhythms, you know. It wasn't just this, and all that kind of business, you know. She could knock a tambourine. And so this reminds me of happy times. But anyway, so I'm just going to place that right there. As you know, it's Black History Month. It's Black History Month. I'm getting that idea. I tried not to knock that tambourine too hard, my people. Bless God. Anyway, I do apologize if I did, and the sound went down. It's Happy History Month. Black History Month. Sorry, I left out the most operative word there. Black. Happy Black History Month to everybody who is of the black color, and to those who are with the black colored people. Yeah, you know, as if to say we just celebrate Black history in 1 month of the year. Don't get it somehow, but at least something has started. But I read somewhere that it started, you know, way back in 1926, the year after my daddy was born. But I only remember it probably about 15 years, 10, 15 years. But I digress. First of all, I just want to say hi there to everybody. I hope you've had a great day. I've had one of those days, I can just say, and I'm not going to go into it. Bless the Lord. So I want to just ask you to pray for some people. A sister V is asking for prayer for her nephew. I can never say this word. Scoliosis. I think that's how it is. Scoliosis. I should have listened to the word on the Google, because it tells you how to pronounce words sometimes. Yeah. Scoliosis on his back today. So we're just hoping and praying that, because I'm not sure if he's in the United Kingdom or abroad. But anyway, the operation was today, so please pray for the operation, that it's a success, and also for a quick recovery, a great recovery for him. She doesn't give his name, but yes, if you could just please pray. Oh yeah, I had a nice praise report actually from Brother Clive McCooty, who we've been praying for now for about a year. Yeah, well, since I started, I think it was December, wasn't it, that we started here. He said, let me get his thing up right quick. Here it is. I asked him how he was doing. He says, not too bad. My walking is getting better. All the prayer I'm getting is working. I have to say, I am blessed. Mm. This is a man who hasn't been able to walk on his own for nearly 2 years because he had sepsis. And I have to say, I'm blessed. How are you? Hope we're well. Hope to speak to you soon. Yes, this is the gentleman that I grew up with. He lived a couple of doors away from me when I was a child, actually. Went to the same church and grew up in Church of God of Prophecy. Bless him. So that's a great praise report there, as far as I'm concerned, because he's moving in the right direction. And sometimes, healing can come in a progressive way. And sometimes it's instantaneous, but it's so long as you're getting healed, and you're getting better. You can just continue to talk of the mighty things that God has done for you and be very praiseworthy about it, and not be saying, oh, woe is me, woe is me. I can't be doing the woe is me thing. Stop. I'm, I'm sorry. There's the black in me. It's coming out. I don't know. These young people, they driving down this road like there's nobody else around. What is that about? But anyway, I digress. Yes, so I wanted to just quickly say that praise report there because I was really happy to hear from Clive as regarding that. Also, Hayley is getting better. Let me just bring up hers. She's getting better. She's been having tests. Hayley is a young sister in Christ who had to have an operation on her stomach. Yes, she's saying, hi, I'm feeling so much better. I have an appointment with my consultant next week, Monday, hopefully, for more tests to maybe get to the bottom of why I've been so poorly. And she's asking me how I am, and big, lovely hearts. Yes, this young lady I helped to raise. She was very, very small. Bless her. Lovely to know she's in Christ Jesus. So that's 2 praise reports. And I wanted to give praise reports earlier on because there's so many people that are needing prayer. This is the reason why I say that we are to pray for our one another. We are to pray for our one another because we do need prayer. We're under attacks. I'm also asking for prayer for my granddaughter who, and yeah, I'm just going to release it. Yeah, she's going to be watching this. She gave a magnificent word at the Woman to Woman conference. And I did play it last week, actually. And then she has been clapped. And as we know, when you go out, when you stand up for the Lord, which is what I was trying to explain to her tonight, as she was telling me what was happening. You think you're going to stand up for the Lord and say great and mighty things about him, and the enemy is just going to just leave it as that. Is not, because he's not that kind of enemy. He wants to clap back. That's what he does. And so what we do is we acknowledge that he's not our friend. That's why he's our enemy. And we prepare ourselves that when we do get a clap, we don't let it bring us down. No, we use it actually as a fuel, as petrol or diesel, whichever you prefer, to lift up a praise, a sacrifice of praise unto the Lord. And Gabby has watched her mom, me, her Nana. Nana is her great-grandmother, and granddad is her great-granddad, because everybody called him granddad. Even his children called him granddad. And my mom, we all called the Nana. Some called the Nana. That's what's on the headstone right now, the Nana. Great people. And she watched them get clapped back and how they dealt with it, especially my mother, because my dad was never ill. I remember as a young girl, I think my dad had an operation on his, I couldn't even tell you what it is. because I think I was about 9 or something. I remember going to the hospital with my mom. That's a funny story, but I don't think I can tell it on here how we got there, but bless the Lord. And but my mum was always suffering from something, you know. But you would never think it, because even though she had arthritis, she had her high heel shoes on with her walking stick, mind, but she had her high heel shoes on, and she always had a beautiful word to speak to everybody, you know. My mom. Yeah, bless her. And so I was explaining to my granddaughter, look, when you see these things coming, these attacks coming, raise up a sacrificial praise, you know, and up your prayer life, up your prayer life, because the enemy wants to stop your prayer life, and he wants to stop your praise, absolutely stop it. And he wants to have you feeling down and depressed because of what he's throwing at you. And if he sees that you're getting down and depressed, he's going to throw more, because you think, how we've got her, or how we've got him, you know. So no, we don't give in to him. Now, even when you're lying flat on your back, you don't give in to him. You can still praise in your mind. And I should tell you about that actually quickly. I remember I was having a hard time with my health, and I just about made it to church, and I couldn't stand up and sing and clap at the same time. I couldn't get my coordination with it. And so I sat down, and then the tears started rolling down, and I said to the Lord, in my mind, I said, Lord, I can't even praise you the way that I wanted to, because people were, you know, dancing around the church and that. And I said, I can't even praise you the way I wanted to. And the tears started rolling down. And then Minister got off the stage, and he came down to me, and he bent down and whispered in my ear, my right ear, never forget it. He said, I know you're speaking to the Lord right now, because you can't praise him the way that you want to. That God up there that we serve is mighty. Oh, he's so mighty. Just love him. Got to love him. Got to love him. Oh, praise God. All right, so I want to get back to the prayer request now. And yes, I wanted to yes. Sister V also, the lady that asked for the prayer for her nephew, lost her father-in-law in the week, and yeah, that sister has been going through the mill right now, and because she does help a lot of people, with the facts that she provides. I mean, she digs, she's a researcher, and I mean, she digs deep into finding out things. You know, she's so blessed, so blessed. Oh, Sister Shalana, who we had on the program, and I think it was split into 3 because we got great programs out of her. I love her to bits because of her humor. She reminds me of myself in a way. She looks like my sister. You know, we get on so well. She's lost 2 brothers, and oh Lord, yeah, she's lost 2 brothers, you know, in a short space of time. And I will let her tell you the rest of her testimony when she returns to the show, because she will be returning to the show. Can't have her back. No, we can't not have her back. And then we will also pray for Sister S, who's been diagnosed with COVID and finding a struggle on SSP. May God be her ultimate provider. She's a single parent with 2 teenagers and a home to run. And I also asking for prayer for another sister whose son was diagnosed with COVID. Now, this sister is not very well. I'm just looking at my scarf. I'm faffing about with my wrap, you know, because I have a professional doing my wraps. And this sister, her son was diagnosed with the COVID. And I'm not really so sure about these diagnoses with these COVIDs, you know, because somebody told me that I'm just going to tell it. they're a support worker, and they have to do the tests all the time, weekly, I believe. And their weekly was doing the test, and it was always coming back negative. And so they decided to try it by not pushing the thing right up their nose, by just touching the tip of their nose, and it came back positive. The one time it came back positive was when they didn't do it properly. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but hey ho, who am I to say anything against it? Bless the Lord. And yes. Oh, also remembering Sister Joyce and Sister Cherry and Sister Dal, who lost their mummy. You know, a great woman of God, and absolutely stunning looking woman as well. Keep them in your prayers, please. And I think that's as far back as we're going to go for this week. Bless the Lord. Yeah. I don't think there was any more that I wanted to mention for this week. Right. Okay. So, as you might have seen on the e-flyer, this show was to be about Janine Dyer, who you may remember from Raymond Co fame. Now I know Janine, you know, very well. We went to Spain together, where I was supposed to have been performing at this prestigious hall in Spain with the royalty. That's how they do it, isn't it? Royalty, looking at the Spanish royalty, and I was not feeling so good, so I couldn't do my part. But Janine was able to get up on the stage and sing gospel with the Spanish Living Waters Choir, which was put together by a pastor named Pastor Paul Gordon, actually, and he put together the CIE choir from Birmingham, West Midlands area, and that was probably about 20 odd years ago, and we're all still friends now. So and out of that choir, I might just add, there was 5 that were not saved. I was one of the 5 that wasn't saved at the time, and out of all the 5, 4 got saved more or less within a short space of time, but 1 didn't. I usually say that he ran. He picked up his foot in his hand and he ran. But 20 years later, the Lord got him, and that's my friend, Brother Peter Spencer. Oh, that reggae singer with the melting, beautiful voice. Yes, he was in the choir as well. But anyway, I'm digressing again, which I do so marvelously, don't I? And we're going to go. This is a Black History Month, so what I want to do now is I want to put up Janine Dyer's voice note that she sent to me, apologizing for tonight. She is rehearsing for the concert that they're having on Saturday. So, you know, I have to say it's my fault. I messed up. Looking on the wrong platform for her response and stuff. Anyway, if you can put up that voice note for me, Mr. Producer, I'd be very grateful. And if you can put up the flyer as well and take me out of the picture, that would be great. And until he does so, I should just sing, my, Jesus is mine, oh, mine, ever weary, my well I'm carried, my, Jesus. Mr. Producer, can you hear me? We don't usually take this long, so I'm going to go into the next piece while he does that. When you find it, just put it up straight away and I will stop. I just wanted to talk a bit about Black History Month, which was created in 1926 in the United States, when historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History announced the second week of February to be Negro History Week. This week was chosen because it coincided with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln on February the 12th, and of Frederick Douglass. I say glass because it has got a double S. on February the 14th, both of which dates Black communities had celebrated together since the late 19th century. Negro History Week was the center of the equation. The thought process behind this week was never recorded, but scholars acknowledged two reasons for its birth: recognition and importance. Woodson felt deeply that at least 1 week would allow for the general movement to become something annually celebrated. Also, after the 10-year-long haul to successfully complete his Journal of Negro History, he realized the subject deserved to resonate with a greater audience. But bless the Lord, you know, celebrating Black History Month in just 1 month, I don't agree with. You know, it's not that it's a celebration that's ongoing as far as I'm concerned. But bless the Lord anyway. Now, I read somewhere here when I was reading this earlier that it started in one place and then it started moving throughout the world. And I don't think I'm going to find it again now. I should have highlighted it, shouldn't I? I should have highlighted it. But never mind. Mr. Producer, are you there? No, not there. Right, so I'm just going to try and see if I can find where it's told me when it started. No, I can't. But I think it went, yeah, United Kingdom, 1987. Here we go. In the United Kingdom, Black History Month was first celebrated in October 1987, which year was also coincidentally the 150th anniversary of Caribbean emancipation. The centenary of the birth of Marcus Garvey. And you know what? That man, oh my goodness, didn't he have a bad rap? Didn't he? I mean, he tried to do so much for Black people, and Black people weren't very nice to him himself. I mean, on top of which he had to put up with all the other stuff and the racism that he got. He got a bad rap, really, that man. God bless him. And the 25th anniversary of the Organization of African Unity, an institution dedicated to advancing the progress of African states. Black History Month in the UK was organized through the leadership of Ghanaian analyst, I don't know if I can say this, Akiaba Adai Sibu, who had served as a coordinator of special projects for the Greater London Council and created a collaboration to get it underway. In the UK, Black History Month was first celebrated in London in 87, as I said, as part of African Jubilee Year, when on October the 1st, Dr. Moalana Karenga from the US was invited to an event at Country Hall. Okay, I'm not going to read all of that. The Black History Month UK does not support the use of the term Black to refer to all people of colour in the UK. Political correctness there, and has criticised institutions for supporting Black History Month with images of different nations. That serves me right, that does. That serves me right, because I shouldn't be looking down just reading. I've been warned about that, you know. But anyway, what do we have here, Mr. Producer? Yes. Now, I haven't even brought my glasses. Yes, this is the Black History Month flyer that beautiful Janine Dyer, sister Janine Dyer with the beautiful voice. This is the excuse me, concert that she will be doing on Saturday. And she said to me that originally it started off as a small thing, but they're going to be streaming it. So I'm hoping that next week I'm going to have the streaming information so that everybody can go and have a look at that. And hopefully it will be on the YouTube or on Facebook. But hopefully you can see that and you can come back to it. Now, she sent a voice note, Mr. Producer. So could you kindly put that up for me, please? Oh. Could you play the voice note that accompanied that for me, please? But we're not getting that. but I should keep looking up at the screen. When first established, Black History Month resulted in some controversy. Those who believed that Black History Month was limited to educational institutions questioned whether it was appropriate to confine the celebrations of Black history to 1 month, which is kind of what I was saying earlier. I didn't realize that was a concern, but anyway, that concern was that it was contrary to the original inspiration for Black History Month, which was a desire to redress the manner in which American schools failed to represent Black historical figures as anything other than slaves or colonial subjects. I mean, I have to say, when I was going to school, we didn't do anything about Black history or about Black people when I was in primary school. It was when I was in secondary school. I do remember in history class, they had the picture. You can see it on one of Janine's shows, Brother Janine. He showed the picture of the slave ships, the hull of the ship, where they had portioned out the slaves lying down flat, you know, arms straight down, like they were in a coffin, and they packed them in there like sardines. And obviously, disease was rife, and whoever died in there, they wouldn't notice it straight away, because those poor slaves, whether they defecated, whether they, you know, whatever happened down there, they was sitting in it, lying in it, until they were all ousted out to get on top to get a tiny bit of fresh air, and then those that were not alive anymore, they were thrown overboard. Now, you know, this is real stuff. This is real stuff, and it's a truth. You know, it's not you know, something that can be hidden anymore. But I remember it at school, the very picture that Brother Janine used. I remembered that picture. I was so shocked as I looked at it in the book at school, and I felt a kind of a way. You know, I felt a kind of a way that my ancestors, my forefathers, were in that kind of position, and it was just glossed over like some nail varnish, you know, just glossed over that this is what happened to certain Black folk. And they were taken to the Americas, the Americas and the West Indies. And you know, the funny thing is, though, if you go and look deeply into it, you'll see that there are statues over in America, that same America there. These huge, massive statues. Don't know how they got there. Well, I kind of do, but that's not for me to say. That's Brother Jamin's show. But these huge statues that were there before the Black slaves were taken to America, with Negro faces, Negroid faces. You know, the what we have as the nose and the eyes and the thicker lips. You know, and they kind of glossed over that as well. You know, you would never think. So we need to look into our history, though. We need to, you know, I remember they were saying, and it was like a funny joke going around at the time, quite a few years ago, but it's not a funny joke. It says, if you want to hide something from a Black man, put it in a book. Huh? Ah, we have something. Bless the Lord. I'm hoping it's going to be. Is it going to be the YouTube video, which I wanted you to put
Hi,
up?
everyone. It's me, Janine Dyer. I'm hoping. Oh, listen, got a little bit of information for you. I'm excited to tell you myself, Chaka community I'm hosting a pop-up concert for Black History Month, celebrating and acknowledging Black History Month and the rich history of gospel music. Guys, I want you to come down if you can. Where's it going to be, you ask? It's going to be at Barnsley Love Life Church, Barnsley in South Yorkshire. So if you're local, if you're around and about South Yorkshire and the other areas, guys, come down. Listen, We want you to just come and enjoy a night. It's been a hard 2 years. It's been crazy. But we want to celebrate the freedom and the joy that gospel music brings. We're going to teach you a little bit about the history and just have a really lovely night. United, all of us together. All colours, all creeds are welcome. Of course, we just want to celebrate and enjoy the rich history and the culture of gospel music. So guys, come down, enjoy yourself. Get somebody, if you can, to join you. And guess what? You're asking, how much is it to get in? It's absolutely free. All we ask is that you register on Skiddle. The details are here. And also, we ask that if you're feeling unwell at all, or if you feel unsure about any symptoms, just be sensible and don't come. We love you to come, but if you're sick or if you're not feeling sure about being sick, get yourself tested, do all the things that we're so used to by now, and think of others and don't attend. Otherwise, we'd love to see you there. So, you want to come? Well, it's first come, first served. Pop up, one night only, and it's a small venue. So, get those tickets. Hi everyone, it's me, Janine Dyer. I'm hoping you're well. Listen, I've got a little bit of information for you. I'm excited.
There we go. So we just got the front part in which we didn't hear. That's Janine Dyer from Raymond Co. fame. Also, Mr. Producer, if you could have ready the YouTube that I wanted to play, some Real Talk, a different program called Real Talk actually, and they're talking about the Black History Month as well, which I do. Yeah, I continue. I remember I felt a kind of a way at seeing all these slaves just stretched out, and every part of the whole was used. It was like a sardine can, and they said that there was about 12 million slaves that was just chucked overboard like cargo, because they had passed away on boat. The journey was terrible, toxic, and but yet still the amount of people that survived, look how many of us there are now. I don't believe we have been truly given the number of us that are around now. I don't think it would benefit certain persons and persons unknown for us to know who we are and how much of us there are. I don't. But hey, that's my thoughts on the matter. And I'm entitled to my opinion. So yes, if you could line up the YouTube link that I sent to you, please, Mr. Producer, as I continue. So
hi, I'm Miss
yes, lovely. Yeah, brilliant. Let it play.
Be on board.
If you could let it get bigger, please, Mr. Producer.
And you're watching Real Talk, a series created by Jordan dedicated to have real conversation on real topic. This conversation look at the history of Black people in the UK. I celebrate my heritage by the way I dress, the food I ate, and the stories I share about my culture. Every summer, I go back to the DRC to connect with my community and listen to the stories of the next generation. So over to you, London.
Jordan's Real Talk.
The Jordan brand is celebrating the global impact of Black culture, bringing together guests to talk about history, culture, and heritage right here on this episode of Real Talk, hosted by me, HP Like the Sauce. We have 4 amazing guests today. To my right, we have Richie Brave. He is a presenter for One Extra, one of the best if you ask me. To my right, we also have Ife Thompson, who is a UK-based community activist. Don't play on her and don't sleep on her. To my left, we have Jana V, who is a designer and creative producer, whose aims is to dismantle single stories within the Black history, but not just Black history, global Black history. And lastly, we have Etienne Ekech, who is a writer, speaker, and activist. This is an elite lineup. So Etienne, in your own words, what do you love about Black culture?
I think one thing that I love about Black culture is our capacity to, even in the most difficult and bleak of situations, find joy, belonging, and fulfillment. And I think that's the kind of thing that exists within our communities in the UK, but also globally. I think that's something that I really value. Wherever we are, we bring joy, we bring like our own energy, and I think that's something we really have to hold on to and value.
Deeper. I like you, man.
Thank
You know your stuff. Jono, talk to me.
I think the creativity that we bring, and in terms of taking on the hardships and creating something new out of that, and then looking at the ways in which the creativity that we bring influences the world, like worldwide. That is the thing that I love the most.
Wood. Can we all wood, please? Wood. Be fair. Talk to me.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I love the communal element that we have as a people. But it's just the idea that we're all one and we all look out for each other. And same with the nod, I think that stems back to the idea of us looking at ourselves as a community. And I think because we bring the vibes, I like the fact that, you know, that we throw the best parties, we make the best food, you know, there's nothing we can't do. And I feel like for us, that's what makes us so unique. And my background is quite interesting. So my name is Ifaluapo, which is a Yoruba name. And all our names are sentences and it means something. So my name means the love of God is a lot. And Ife literally means love in Yoruba. Like, even little stuff like that, it didn't really hit me until I went to Nigeria one time and I was at the airport and all the people that were at the airport were Yoruba. And the first thing they saw when they saw my name was like, Ife, lovely name. I love that name. And I felt so seen because what kind of feel like, Ife, what's that? What does that mean? What? And they love it. Oh, Ife, wow, beautiful meaning. And it made me feel so seen, like even like when you're in like Nigeria, you're in Lagos, you see a road called Toyin Street or, you know, Ife Road. And you're thinking there can be roads called Ife Road. And I feel like that situated me as like, I can be the norm.
I feel like growing up in terms of everyone was always at my grandma's house. It was like a familial home. And so in terms of just being around these strong, amazing women, they kind of just ingrain different attitudes into you. And I feel like that is how you kind of keep afloat and you kind of ingrain these different ways of going about yourself. You can't let anyone rob you of your history. I think that's just something that's been it's just normal for me.
We always find our resilience and we always resist where we need to resist. And for me, there's just great beauty in that. I feel like we're galvanizing now. I went to my first Black Lives Matter march in the UK in 2013, I think it was, or 2014. So I feel like we've been out here and people have been out here, but it was in smaller numbers. I think we're in an age now in 2020, 2021, where we're looking around ourselves and we're like, yo, this person's existed for this long. That person's been doing this. That's been happening in this area. I feel like there's been an awakening. People are suddenly looking around us and saying, yo, this history that you ripped from us in this country, it's always existed. And I'm gonna go out of my way to discover it now.
Why do you think, you know, British Black history isn't propelled?
I think if you look at like history is not some passive subject. Like the way you study history is very much indicative of the perspective that people who formulate education curriculums want you to take. Those who like formulate our curriculum have managed to make issues of race and class and all these like stories of historical injustice an American business. And so like whenever something happens, they say, oh, racism is an American problem. And that's why like you won't learn about the Black British Panthers. That's why you won't learn about the race riots that happened in the uprisings. That's why you won't learn about the systemic and institutionalized racism. But I think it's generally part of a perspective that a lot of people in this country have that Black people are not British. And that our history starts at the arrival of the Windrush generation. And I think the Windrush generation is a massively important historical moment and movement. But I think we have to reflect the fact that there were Black Romans, there were Black Tudors, there were Black people who influenced the Renaissance in Europe. And I think we have to like expand and deepen our understanding of these historical narratives. But I think to just close off back to your question, it's because there's a level of power and empowerment and like courage that comes with understanding that your people have been here before and that we've risen up and continue to find joy and fulfillment in the space of these injustices.
Well, I feel like Black communities have been uprising and resisting. I feel like one of the biggest resistance we've ever seen in this country was the Mark Duggan uprising. And we don't talk about that enough and how we as a community saw the killing of a Black man via state violence. And we said, you know what, Dad, we're going to make sure you guys feel when one of ours is gone, we're going to resist them. So I go of education around teaching Black narratives through my organisation, BLAM. And a lot of the time when we look at Black history narratives, we're looking at Martin Luther King, looking at Rosa Parks, we're starting to recognise our own Black British heroes, we're starting to recognise our John La Roses, we're starting to recognise our Layla Hassan Howes, and we're looking at those that have been resisting and organising to look at that globalised history. And what I particularly like about that generation is that they were Pan-African. So it was never just about being Black British, it was about connecting to Africa and the Caribbean and America, and actually thinking about Black internationalism and how we're all one.
Have you guys ever felt that you've been lost in this country that we're living in? And if so, why? I'm going to start with you, Etienne.
I think there's a massive disconnect between the true nature of the communities that we have in this country and a lot of the representations. But I think what's allowed me to not feel lost is the sense of solidarity and connectedness that I feel with the other Black people around me. I think there's connections and interdependence in all our stories. And I think it's about recognizing that wherever there's people, there's power. And that we can face on like the immense challenges that we face with an awareness of like who we are and really finding that connection in the midst of the struggle that we face.
We are living in a time right now where we are now the new creatives. We are now going to be looked at as the future. Our kids, you know, and their kids are going to look back at what the things we've done and say, raw, like, wow, these guys were innovators. So Richie, in your own, you know, eyes, where do you see the future of Black people?
Oh, God, that's such a massive question. And I think it comes back to the resistance I was talking about, right? And the importance of community. And I think, you know, we've always had that community that's sat underneath us. But I feel like at times it's felt a bit fragmented and something feels different at the moment in terms of what we're doing. And these intergenerational conversations that we're having. So someone who's an activist now is sitting down with someone like Althea Jones-LeCointe, who was one of like the British Black Panthers, right? And they're sitting in a room together and they're learning from each other. So for me, in terms of the future, what I see and what I think is important is that connection and understanding that, yeah, we may be different ethnically or culturally, but there's something that connects us and there's that thread that connects us. So for me, I see great power. I see the future in young people without saying like, I believe the children are, you know, that, not to make it cheesy, but there's just something about this new generation of young people that's coming up and they're not having it. And they won't take no for an answer. For me, I've always felt like a sense of belonging. I've never felt lost. But in this country, I felt erased. And I think it touches on what was spoken about a bit earlier on.
I love the fact that we have our own language, we have our own ways of doing things, we have our music that's reflected in our language. And I feel like for me, that's beautiful. And that keeps me going. It gives me joy. When I go to a motive, I hear gigs talking the hardest, I'm in the middle. Do you know what I mean?
That's the national anthem.
That's national anthem.
Actually, I'll ask you a question just to see if you've gone to the other side. Plantain or plantain?
No, it's plantain till I die. Okay?
Thank you
Till
so
I die.
much. Continue, my
But
friend.
I'm mountain or mountain.
It's the
Like, our own way of saying it. It doesn't have to be two-sided.
Here comes the neutral one. Here comes the neutral one.
Diaspora wars, I'm tired of it.
It's all love, but you know, we have to have a little bit of pants.
I love the hybridity of it all and the merging of it. And that for me keeps me going.
I think a beautiful thing you touched on was the interlink between and African culture. I think when I was growing up, there was a big, you know, difference between being Black and being, you know, West Indian was seemed as if you're not West Indian, then you're not cool enough. And I think a good part of what's changing is the fact that I feel for me personally, when I saw, you know, West Indian artists and Africanists combining together to make music. One thing that we all love is music. Going to a party, you hear Wizkid and you might hear Popcorn on the song. That's like, what do you want? They haven't got a problem. Why should we? And I think that's a big thing for us when we look at these people, these musicians, these artists. We look at them and there's something about them that, you know, resonates with us. And when we can see them coming together, I think that is a big part of solidarity. And I think that was, for me, was so keen.
I think if we just like look at the kind of the time that Made grew up, like we kind of grew up in the shadow of the 2008 financial crisis, seeing the marches around racial injustice in the US, seeing the kind of social, economic, environmental, racial inequalities in the UK. I think like I think my generation comes with a type of attitude of if no one else is gonna do it, then we have to. And that like if we want things to progress, then it's not something we can leave for other people. But I think one thing that our generation of people, of Black people in the UK right now have to really remember is that we have to make sure that in the future people see the full like vision of our humanity, and that we triumph and document our failures, our successes, our lessons, our nuances. We have to make sure that when we look back in 100 years, that people can really see us in our full self, because there's loads of biased depictions of us in the media, in politics, in various different aspects of British society. We have to make sure that we leave archiving and documentation that really cuts through the noise.
With all the sufferation that we've gone through, I feel like it's now been changed to some good vibes and some good energy. I want to thank all of you guys for coming today and taking part in this. I feel very, very inspired to have all of you guys here and being able to hear your stories, hear everything that you guys love about being Black, your experiences and everything. And I'm sure this will be, you know, the beginning of many conversations that we will be having as a community and as people as well. So I think the only way we can end this by doing the Woody.
Woody.
Fantastic. Oh, that was brilliant. You know, I love about these young people, they are not afraid, you know, they're sticking up for what they believe in, and more and more and more so, which is just fantastic. I mean, when our parents came over, they had to behave in a certain way, because they came to a country where they thought the streets were going to be paved with gold, you know, and they came over to a freezing cold country, and they had to get used to a very heightened level of racism, you know, which they had to deal with. I think it had on the doors of the houses or rooms for rent. I mean, they couldn't go and buy a house, you know. They had to rent rooms wherein one brother would sleep in the bed in the morning and then go to bed at night, and then another brother would come and sleep in the same bed at night and go to bed to work in the morning, you know. So they flipped hopspotted the bed, and because most of them came over, the men came over by themselves, leaving wives, fiancés and girlfriends back in the West Indies to come and look for a better life. And then they would send for the wife first and then send for the children, which in itself caused a lot of problems, because some of those children are still back home and they didn't understand what was going on. And then children born over here. So there was a disparity between the two sets of children. That's another talk show right there. And what they had to put up with, you know, the level of racism that they had to put up with, it was absolutely terrible. You know, my generation wouldn't stand for it. I know I wouldn't. You know, I experienced it once when I went into a bank, and another time when I went into a certain pastry, patisserie, as the French would call it, shop. And the woman wouldn't serve me. I'm standing right in front of her, and she's serving down the line. I'm saying, "Excuse me, can't you see me?" And you know, Lord, because I couldn't believe it at first. And I thought to myself, is this the feeling then that my parents would have had? This is the feeling, you know, just being ignored because of the color of your skin. Not good, not good. And this skin color here is very powerful, you know. I'll let you know. Bless the Lord. What I wanted to go on to was some inventors, because you know, oh Lord, they would have you believe that we were running around in Africa with no clothes on, probably a little loincloth, and the woman's dress hanging down to her waist, you know, if she's had children, and perkier boobies if she hadn't, just running around having nothing to do. 8 Black inventors who made daily life easier, which is just absolutely marvelous. The ironing board was invented by Sarah Boone in 1982. It's a product that's used in every household. I mean, some people, yeah, they might iron on the bed, you know, throw down a towel and iron it. But the ironing board was invented by Sarah Boone, which was an African-American woman who was born and enslaved. And she used the US history Black woman in US history to receive a patent. She was the first Black woman. Imagine. Yeah, bless the Lord. The next one, a home security system, co-invented by Mary Van Britten Brown in 1966. Next one, this one I love. The 3-light traffic signal invented by Garrett Morgan in 1923. With only an elementary school education, Black inventor and son of an enslaved parent, Garrett Morgan came up with these several significant inventions, including an improved sewing machine and the gas mask. Remember the gas mask that they used to wear in the wars? Yeah? Bless God. However, one of Morgan's most influential inventions was the improved traffic light. Morgan was one of the first 3-light systems that were invented in the 1920s, resulting in widespread adoption of the traffic lights we take for granted today. Thanks to the successes of his other inventions, Morgan bought a car, and as a motorist, he witnessed a severe car accident at an intersection in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. In response, he decided to expand on the current traffic light by adding a yield component, warning oncoming drivers of an impending stop. He took out the patent for the creation in 1923, and it was granted to him the following year. You know, the reason I like that was my dad was a driving instructor when I was small, and I remember I took one lesson only, for my dad. And I remember when he was telling me to do something, and I was getting it wrong, he just clapped me on my leg. Dad, I think I'm going to get myself a driving instructor, because he said, what does green mean? I said, go. He says, yes. He said, what does red mean? I said, stop. He said, yes. He says, what does amber mean? I said, go. He says, no, it means stop. I'm thinking, how does it mean stop? Because it's amber, it's not red. He says, it doesn't mean that you must get ready to stop. He says, you must stop, because you don't know if the next person is going to think to himself, oh, it's amber, and then going to drive over on the amber. But anyway, yeah, I like that one. Refrigerated trucks was invented by Frederick McKinley Jones in 1940, and we can understand why that was important. Automatic elevator doors invented by Alexander Miles in 1887. Come on now. Electric microphone, co-invented by James E. West in 1964. Wow, bless the Lord. He invented that along with his German colleague Gerhard Sessler. And then carbon light bulb filament, the light bulb, invented by Louis Latimer in 1881. So don't make anybody tell you that the light bulb was invented by anybody else. Bless the Lord. The light bulb itself was perfected by Thomas Edison, but it wasn't invented by Thomas Edison. Have you know that? Bless God. You know what? I'm not going to read anymore. Yes, I am. The color IBM PC monitor and gigahertz chip, co-invented by Mark Dean in 1980 and 1999. Before flat screens and high-definition LCD monitors were the norm, PC displays were limited to screens with no color. I don't know if you remember that the first game I remember that I had in my home was the that kind of tennis game where it was a black screen and it had a white thing down the middle, and then it had 2 black bars either side, and then you had a little white circle which represented a ball that went across the white line, and then you just move up your little controller, and then pop, like a tennis match, pop, and it would come over to the other side and pop. I showed it to my children, and they said, "Mom, are you sat down and played this with Dad?" I said, "Yeah, because it was great. I remember when he brought it into the house, you just thought, this is just a great thing, and you just stare at that screen and you just go pop, pop. It could go a little bit faster, but that was it. And to what I see my grandchildren playing with now, I mean, it just boggles the mind, because I can't play the Mario games and the whatnot. I don't even know what they're called now. But yeah, you know what? I don't want to go over time. I just want to I just wanted to bring to your understanding, what Black people have done for the world. Not just for Black people, but what Black people have done for the world. our inventions. You know, it's just absolutely magnificent. We have us now. I mean, I was born in the 60s, grew up 60s, 70s, and there wasn't much over in the UK that was kind of shining the light on Black people. No, you know. So what that young gentleman said earlier in the YouTube clip, I just need to say that Real Talk that you just saw is not affiliated to this Real Talk. It's spelled in a different way for a startup. But I liked it because you had young people talking about issues, you know, like social injustice and the things that that my generation didn't really talk that much about. You know, we were the bridge between the older generation who took no chat from you. If you don't do something, pop, you got it, you know, and the younger generation who don't take no chat, you know. You know, tell me what this is for, and if I think it's okay, then I'll consider doing it. But if I don't think it's okay, I'm not doing it. That's the younger generation, and my generation who kind of listened. we bridged the gap. And I think one of the things that we didn't do so well is we gave our children far too much too easily, which kind of spoiled them really, because we say, oh, we didn't have this and we didn't have that, or we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that, so we allowed them to do what they wanted, and it kind of blew up in our faces. But anyway, you know, bless the Lord, I'm not digressing anymore. If you want to go and find these wonderful people's names, you know what, just Google it and you'll be surprised. There was another one that I saw, and I put that down because I wanted to use it. It's I should say it's library.ucsd.edu. That's library.ucsd.edu, and it's just really an A4 piece of paper that tells you about different peoples. That's I mean, there's the Train Alarm by R.A. Butler, Ice Cream Mold by A.L. Craig, The Printing Press by W.A. La Follette, Laser Fuels by Lester Lee, The Pressure Cooker by Maurice L. W. Lee, The Window Cleaner by A. L. Lewis, A Pencil Sharpener by John L. Love. You know, it's just an A4 sheet of paper. Let me just show you this, and you'll see. But it just tells you about so many, and those are all different people there, you know, which we didn't know about. I had no clue about. So it's lovely them to, you know, find out about these great people. So that is the conclusion of the show tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit more interactive, wasn't it? Using different media. Well, anyway, I thank you for staying with me. Listen out for when Janine Dyer will be on the show in December. And next week, I do believe, I've forgotten the name. But anyway, I will see you next week. So I'm hoping that you'll have a great week for the ending of the Black History Month, as they say. And I look forward to seeing you. And don't forget, tonight from 10:30 is the GX Ladies. They'll be filming from the Afro-Caribbean Centre on Dudley Road in Birmingham, the GX Ladies Squad. And so for me, I am over and out. My name is Sai, and this is the Real Talk Show. Yeah, and we are out.